Recording. So we're now live. So this is Richard Wishart, Huntingdonshire Business Network. First live broadcast on Blab. So Richard Wishart here. I'm the elected chairman of HBN. And on my right is Luana, and Luana is on the committee of HBN. So we'd like to welcome you to the first Huntingdonshire
Richard, I don't know if you can hear me, but the sound has gone really bad.
I can hear you okay.
Oh, shame, that froze terribly then. So I'm afraid it was a bit of a Dalek there.
All right, no, we can hear you, Luana. Do you want to just say a bit about yourself?
Okay.
Now that we're recording?
Luana Mattey, get online, get found, get clients, helping non-techies get online and taking the mystery out of building a solid online presence.
Yeah, good. And it's a big issue, isn't it? It's getting the for people that haven't been online before. If they're just starting up their own business, and maybe they're really good at what they do, but then they've now got to have this online presence. They've got to have a website. They've got to have an email address. They've got to be on some form of social media. So it's really hard if you're not wired that way.
I think as well for me that the sad thing is that people think that having a website is enough, and what they actually have is more of an online brochure. There's no lead generation, there's no ability to follow up and to build a relationship, because people are not going to come to your website and buy things straight away. And I think too many, probably you're looking at about 95% of sites where people don't have any means of capturing email addresses so that they can actually just keep in touch. Not hound people, because people have a thing about marketing, but you don't have to be hassling people, but it's just keeping in touch. But I think most sites, people will have visitors come and go, they will be none the wiser. They're actually relying on people phoning or taking the initiative, and actually they should and can control it quite easily now. The plugins that are available are just fantastic.
So how would you go about finding your potential customers? So if you're looking for people that are having startups, they're having problems getting their digital presence, how would you find them in the first place?
Well, you can do it two ways. You can actually, if you advertise now on Facebook, you can be very specific. So the ideal thing would be to have a niche. I have a particular love for NLP and hypnotherapy practitioners because that's an area of interest of mine. I trained as an NLP hypnotherapy practitioner about 5 years ago. So I would love to help them find more clients because I think they do an awesome job. So I can advertise on Facebook and target those people in particular. So I can tailor all my messages to a specific group. I can find them on Facebook. You can find them on LinkedIn. And so you're not having a scattergun approach then to advertising. So you'll get more bang for your buck, basically. So everything you can say on your site will be to that person. Your advertising will look for that person. And then just guide them to a place where they can find out more about what you do. Okay.
So segmentation and not just segmentation, but actually narrowing in on a particular audience.
Yes, yeah. I think so, because a lot of people will also be afraid that they're going to turn certain business away. But the truth is, you cannot help everybody. It's impossible. And if you try to, you'll actually lose more people by being wishy-washy, I think.
The problem with some of these social media tools now is that you can go global without even knowing you're going global, and you'd be going out to a very diverse audience without knowing you're going out to a very diverse audience. Yeah. And the hard bit is how do you bring that? You can go out very easily, but how do you narrow it back in and make it specific? It's hard.
Well, I think it depends on your service. If I think of a local business perhaps who's providing a service that they can only service the area. I saw something actually. I think there was an advert yesterday for someone who rents out bridal cars. Now, they obviously don't want to go out into the world. They can't help people outside. So they would make sure that when they advertise, they narrow it down to that specific audience. And Facebook will oblige. It just won't show anybody outside of that demographic, that advert. So again, if you think about getting return on your advertising investment, that's perfect.
Okay. And so how can HBN help you as a business? What sort of things can HBN help you with? If this was a normal HBN meeting and we normally have about 15, 20 people around the room, and you are now asking for help, what very specific piece of help would you need as a startup business in your field? What's the sort of help you're looking for?
I always think feedback and an outside perspective, because it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do, you are looking at it from a different viewpoint. So I think having feedback, running ideas past people, let them look at your copy. For me personally, it would be, am I saying enough here? I remember actually giving Annette a piece that I was going to publish, and she immediately saw that there were certain things that were not clear. Because I was writing it, I already knew that part, but for an outsider. So I think the feedback, and we've got so much experience in HBN coming from a different angle.
I'll tell you what, how about when we get back in September at one of the HBN meetings? Why do you not take sort of, we can not do it as a seminar, but do maybe a 20-minute slot just on your business as part of the overall thing?
Yes, with pleasure.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. No, that would be fine. I'd like that.
We'll schedule that in then. At the moment, we're on, for people listening in, we're actually on a break. But I very cheekily put this Blab in on one of our days off, one of our Fridays off. We've actually filled the gap. But next week we've got it's still August, and we're going to be meeting up at a local restaurant 12:30 to 2:30. That'll be still informal. But then we get back formally at the beginning of September, and you can find our events on Meetup. Meetup's the best place to look at it. But what we'll do, Luana, is one of our normal weekly ones. We'll give you 20 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, that would be cool. Yeah.
Right.
The other thing that I need to get. The sound is gone again. The other thing that I need to get organized is more video. So this is again why I like this format, because if there's any way to save and utilize this, I think this is brilliant just to put across on the website. Okay,
well, I've recorded it. So after the event, what happens is they download the video. Although in fact, I believe listening in, you can right click on the main screen and save it. But I'll do it the other way. I'll do it the other way, and then I'll send you a copy. So
all right,
you can accept or reject. But at least I think it's good. It's good practice. It's good practice. Good. Okay. Well, we haven't had the audience as expected today, but we have had an interesting chat. Chris up his ladder, Ed in his co-working space, and a couple of visitors. So we've had a reasonable meeting. And for me, it's practice. It's practice doing a Blab and sharing a Blab. And it's your first time on, which is fantastic.
It's my first time, yes. And as I say, for me, this is definitely one of the best formats that I've come across. When I was looking for this meetup, I was amazed at how many people have got something going on here. It is incredibly popular.
And have you jumped into anybody else's Blab?
I didn't have time, because I mean, you could spend all your time just watching and into it and getting involved. But I didn't. I joined in, with Ed. I watched you guys this morning, and then I knew you were going to be on, so I'll come back in then.
Okay. So are you planning on doing a Blab yourself? Are you planning on sharing a Blab?
Yes, I think so. I would just need to think about who I would have an invite, because I'm not going to talk to myself and wait for people to jump in. Yes, no, definitely. I would definitely have you on the other side. But I'd also have a think about what would be a good theme for it, and that would be nice. Yeah, I think a regular thing once a week would be.
I'll try. I mean, particularly with yours, Luana, if you could get one of your customers on board, either before they're a real customer or after you've helped them, that would be a really good way to have a discussion. Expose them to a slightly different thing as well. But
that's perfect, and that would be a plan. Would you know if you can screen share with this? Or is it just literally as the camera's watching, observing?
It's just where the camera's watching. You can have somebody sitting alongside you, which is another way. If someone sat at your table, you could actually move get them onto the thing.
Oh, okay.
So they wouldn't need to touch the technology.
Okay. Well, I won't get too clever. I'll do it the right way the first time. What happens after that?
So this is Richard Wishart, chairman of HBN, Huntingdonshire Business Network. This is our first Blab, and I'm blabbing with Luana. Luana, it's mainly been about your business. You just want to give us the heads up again about how people would contact you, what your website is.
Yes, you can. I can be found at luana.com, which I think is on the screen. Does that actually show on your screen, that Twitter? and that will lead off to the website. Yeah. Otherwise, you can Google, get online, get found, get clients, and the actual web address is www.luanamattey.com. I'll try to keep it simple, especially since I've reinvented myself a few times.
The power of
so that I can play with my headline, and I don't have to keep buying new domains, because I have owned, I think, about 10 and I've left all by the wayside.
So if anybody listening to this this blab, either online or offline afterwards, has a customer or knows somebody who's struggling to get online and gets phased by the whole digital online thing, then Luana's the go-to person to help them. Speaking in
yes, and certainly for this wonderful period of time, probably the next few weeks, there can be some free help going on here, because it would be great to have some feedback online to see how people take to the idea, especially if they're real non-techies and they don't like, or they don't think they can cope with online stuff. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks, Luana. We'll do this again.
Thank you, Richard.
And I think we'll close it there. I'm not quite sure how you close it, but I think I just pressed the
I can
button.
see a cross on my screen, so I'll probably do that. This would be HPN Leathering on Blab.
Leathering on Blab, yes.
Thanks, Richard. Have a good weekend.
Okay, thanks, Luana. Thanks for your time.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.